Hey, it's Warrior Grapevine, and today we are going to be playing A Warrior's Life by Ragged Flight. This is another generator associated with Perchance, but it's programmed to be kind of like a game similar to ClanGen. However, there isn't any pictures compared to ClanGen, and you're following a singular cat's life, making decisions for that cat, and basically interacting with that world in text form. This game is being pretty actively worked on, and at the time I'm talking, the game was just updated 2 days ago. I'm not sure where else you can find Ragged Flight, but I have the game linked in the description below. I will admit that I've already played through this game and recorded the entire process of playing it. It's a pretty fun game, but some things get a little bit repetitive as your cat gets older, and I'll specifically blame that on the fact that this game is still being actively worked on. I still think it's worth a chance. Please give it a chance, especially if you want to support this game as it's being worked on and helping the creator out with some ideas or input on this game. I also want to point out that I recorded my gameplay back on February 10th of 2023, so maybe some of the things I recorded gameplay wise are a little bit outdated. Now onto the video. I'm first going to be talking and drawing the character and their family that I generated. The cat I generated is Bramblekit of Mole Clan. Bramblekit is helpful and intense. Bramblekit is a short-furred little cat with a powerful build. He's also a calico cat with green eyes and smells like honey. He starts off with the high points in herb knowledge, teaching skills, and happiness. Bramblekit's mother is Splash Puddle, and Bramblekit has a brother called Heronkit. Bramblekit at this age is often picking flowers in the main clearing and generally seeing what he can get up to, whether that's getting in trouble for being in the warrior's den or learning from the older apprentices. There wasn't a description of Bramblekit's mother or brother and later on his father either, so I guess a little on what they looked like based on Bramblekit. Bramblekit is a calico cat, and according to some genetics, that means both of his parents would have been orange cats. I don't know how true that is, but I decided to use, I basically decided to use the same generator as the one I use for my random generator warrior cats. So basically my Fog Clan videos. And I just kept looking around until I could find cats that had ginger fur for Splash Puddle. And then for Heronkit, I decided to go for a cream and orange cat, because sometimes orange cats just make cream colored cats. But that's as far as I'm going to go into real life cat genetics, just because I don't know that much about it. This is the infographic that I came across in my research, so please just take that with a grain of salt. Splash Puddle is Bramblekit's mother, and the other cats in this clan tend to insult her a lot, and I feel like that wouldn't sit right with Bramblekit, who he comes to her defense, but Bramblekit is a little kitty, so I don't think they take them that seriously. Splash Puddle doesn't tell Bramblekit who his father is for quite a while. I'm guessing the two just aren't mates anymore, and that's why she doesn't even want her kids to know who the father is. Splash Puddle also loves to tell her two kids stories about Mole Clan and the cats before them. I also noticed that Bramblekit doesn't really play with his brother Heronkit that often, and later on the two disagree with each other a little bit, so I'm guessing that the two just don't get along, and perhaps Heronkit tends to be a little bit jealous of his brother and what opportunities Bramblekit stumbles into later on in the gameplay. Heronkit does have a crush on Stormkit, so I like to imagine that later on the two might have a thing going on. At this point, the game doesn't have a description of the other kids in the nursery either. Maybe Stormkit is also siblings with Beachkit, who is also mentioned at some point around the same time. Bramblekit quickly makes friends with a Tom named Larkkit and plays often with Rustkit as well. He also tends to go into the medicine den to learn a few things from their medicine cat Wheatclaw, and I'm going to go ahead and say that there will be quite a few medicine cats Bramblekit interacts with. For some reason, the medicine cats just kept dying while I was playing. The current leader of Mole Clan is Bramblestar, who is a non-binary cat. The deputy is Gleaming Grass, who's a she-cat. The season is summer, and the clan believes in Star Clan. There are 3 other clans, and Mole Clan is admired among them. I've already basically described the first 6 moons of life for Bramblekit and let the gameplay go on in the background, but now Bramblekit has turned into Bramblepaw. Bramblepaw is mentored by Hollowfrost, who is a tomcat. They don't describe who Larkpaw and Heronpaw are apprenticed to, but they were also made into apprentices by Bramblestar. Alright, Bramblepaw doesn't get along that well with his stricter mentor, who makes him train at night. So he turns to his mother, Splashpuddle, for advice. I decided that Bramblepaw needed a few more skills in hunting and fighting, so I mostly tended to pick those options for training. I didn't realize until much later on that when you go hunting in the walk around tab, the prey you catch can be handed out to whoever you want to in the actions tab, so please bear that in mind while you play the game yourself. I also decided that Bramblepaw wouldn't really be that interested in the kitty pet houses part, but I did have him explore there a couple of times just to see what dialogue or actions could happen. I didn't want to accidentally make Bramblepaw into a kitty pet. At this time in life, apparently Heronpaw is now being bullied, and I'm not sure if it was related to when cats were insulting their mother's Splashpuddle, so I'm guessing the other cats also bully Bramblepaw a little bit too. Unfortunately for Bramblepaw, eventually this leads to Heronpaw not taking his brother standing up for him that well. Heronpaw starts insulting him, and the two just aren't getting along. Heronpaw is a little bit of a bully. I imagine he does that so that he can fit in better, but Bramblepaw doesn't really take it that well and stands up to his brother. He does have Larkpaw around to make dawn patrols just a little bit better, and Splashpuddle is very proud of Bramblepaw when he wins a race against the other apprentices. I decided our final picture will be of Bramblepaw touching noses to his mentor Hollowfrost, because in the next episode Bramblepaw becomes a warrior. Again, I largely used a generator to decide what Hollowfrost's appearance is like, since at the time the generator just gave a description of the character you play as is like. I actually really enjoyed how it came out, but I did make some minor adjustments based on my preference. Honestly, this drawing is much more simple than the other one I did in this video, but it works for what it is, if that makes sense. Thank you so much for watching this first episode of Warrior's Life. I hope you also give this game a chance sometime, and I'll see you next time. Hey, it's Warrior Grapevine, and today we are going to be playing again A Warrior's Life by Ragged Flight. This is another generator associated with Perchance, but it's programmed to be kind of like a game similar to ClanGen. However, there aren't any pictures compared to ClanGen, and you're following a singular cat's life, making decisions for that cat, and basically interacting with that world in text form. This game is being pretty actively worked on, and at the time I'm talking, the game was just updated 4 or 5 days ago. I'm not sure where else you can find Ragged Flight besides their generators on Perchance, but I have the game linked in the description below if you want to play it. I will admit that I've already played through this game and recorded the entire process of playing it. It's a pretty fun game, but some things get a little bit repetitive as your cat gets older, and I will specifically blame that on the fact that this game is still being actively worked on. I still think it's worth a chance because you get to support this game as it's being worked on and helping the creator out with their ideas and just general input on making this game better. I also want to point out that I recorded my gameplay back on February 10th of 2023, so maybe some of the things I recorded gameplay-wise are a little bit outdated. Now, onto the video. We come back to our apprentice Bramblepaw becoming a warrior named Bramblepelt. Our friend Larkpaw becomes Larkclaw, and our brother Heronpaw becomes Heronsky. So I decided our first drawing is of Bramblestar, giving Heronsky and Bramblepelt their warrior names. For the drawing of Bramblestar, I generated a random design for her, but I tried to specifically choose a design that has similar colors to, well, a robin. The other designs were quite simple since I've already drawn Heronsky and Bramblepelt. It's just as simple of making them look a bit older. As for the background, I've kind of gone for some sandy scenes similar to the sand colony, but for this one, I kind of made it more like it was the start of spring. There's a little bit of grass growing. I imagine their territory is pretty sandy, but there are some grassier areas, and the area that they have for their camp are tunnels dug into the hillside. I kind of imagine these cats similar to Wind Clan, in Tall Star's Revenge, but they don't stay tunnelers for long. So some cats are tunnelers, some cats are runners and patrol the above ground. Bramblestar does her ceremonies on this flat piece of land that branches out from their camp, and the camp is also pretty close to an ocean-like area. I checked the interactive events page, and our mother Splash Petal thinks it's time for Bramblepelt to have a mate that she personally picked out. I ended up agreeing to this because I don't think Bramblepelt would disagree with his mother mainly, and he'd be open to meeting this cat his mother approves of. We end up meeting Quiet Pelt, and they are a non-binary cat, and that's the only description we end up with for now. I also check our skills while we are at it, and our lowest is happiness, reputation, and social skills. Judging by previous gameplay, Bramblepelt isn't that very good at reading the room when he needs to. Looking at the actions tab, I decided to try to patch things up with Heronsky again, because when they were apprentices, the two didn't get along, and Heronsky was a bit of a bully to just to fit in with the other apprentices. This ends up working out well, and the two are friends again. The next moon, Bramblepelt is given Lion Paw after his mentor was killed. Also, our deputy Gleaming Grass dies, and one pelt is named the new deputy. Our old mentor Hollowfrost also decides to check in if we're still keeping up with our training after beating us, and I decided that Bramblepelt would be eager to learn what he could from his mentor, no matter how old he is. The other cats tease us for this, but I don't think Bramblepelt would care about that because he learned something new. We train our apprentice and we make a new friend, Brindlesong, who is a selfish and loud demi-tom. We hunt some prey and give it to our mate, Quiet Pelt. We put the rest of the prey on the fresh kill pile. For the drawing of Quiet Pelt, I decided to try and go for one of the first few designs that was generated, or just one that I kind of liked for her, so that's basically all there is to it. I decided to draw her being shy after Bramblepelt gives her a mouse. The next moon, our apprentice becomes Lion Dust, and a war breaks out between our clan Mole Clan and Vine Clan. Also, a cat comes along, they prove that they are our father, and his name is Primrose Spots. Again, I don't know much about cat genetics, but September Wolf 5 Games left a helpful comment saying, for Calico, it would require the parents to be either one black, one ginger, one black and ginger, one black or ginger, or two black and ginger cats. I decided that Primrose Spots will be a black cat, while his mother just remains a ginger cat. Our mate has a romantic walk planned. Instead of going on a patrol with an important cat, Bramblespelt decides to skip out on the patrol to go with them. I think he's the type of cat that prioritizes his relationship with his family and mate first. Quietpelt is delighted and to have a good time. We shyly give one of our catches to Quietpelt and put the rest on the fresh kill pile. We try to supervise the kid that got outside of the camp and they get scared instead and run back. I guess it's just good the kid didn't get into any trouble. Once again, we shyly give a piece of prey to Quietpelt and put the rest on the fresh kill pile. The next moon, Vine Clan was declared the victor of the war with our clan, Mole Clan. We beat a cat that challenged us and they slink off unhappily. We ask Quietpelt to officially become our mate and they agree. During this gameplay, I do checks to see if Quietpelt wants to have kids, but they never change their mind. I just felt like I should note that since that's what's going on, and also I'm fine with the fact that Quietpelt doesn't want kittens. I just wanted to see if they would ever change their mind. I'm also not sure if Quietpelt can have kittens, so... Our next drawing, I decided to draw the next moon, where Bramblepelt and Quietpelt are watching the sunrise together. Bramblepelt is sitting while Quietpelt greets him before assumably sitting next to him to watch the sunset. I went for one of the sandier areas of their territory on a hill, and I just think these two are cute together. No matter what happens next in the story, at least they'll have each other for a little while. I skip another moon and we watch the sunrise with our mate Quietpelt, and sadly our medicine cat Weakclaw died, so they are replaced by their apprentice Myrtle Breeze. Our father Primrose Spot smiles and says that we are their greatest achievement. At 18 moons, Quietpelt calms Bramblepelt down after a White Clan cat crosses the border. At 19 moons, Heron Sky gossips with us, coming up with outlandish ideas to Bramblepelt. Our mother surprises us with fresh kill after a border patrol, and we go on another romantic walk with Quietpelt. At 20 moons old, our clan really respects us for stocking up the fresh kill pile. While on patrol, Primrose Spots gives us some helpful advice. We continue to give some of our catch to our mate Quietpelt and the rest to the fresh kill pile. At 21 moons, Bramblepelt is given their first apprentice of their own, Duckpaw. The only information we are given is that this cat is a she-cat. I try to train this cat evenly with both hunting and fighting techniques to make sure I'm not favoring one over the other, just like Lion Dusk. Duckpaw tends to be good at learning new skills, and she praises us in front of the other apprentices. As for the last drawing in this video, I decided to draw Duckpaw and Bramblepelt hunting a squirrel together in one of the wooded areas of their small territory. I referenced this drawing from an actual photo of two cats together, and again, Duckpaw's design is just a random one I picked out. Hi, it's Warrior Grayfun, and welcome back to another video. Today we will be playing A Warrior's Life again. It's by Ragged Flight. It'll be in the link in the description below. I played this game back in February, so that's been a while and there's been a lot of updates. Last time, Bramblepelt has gotten a new apprentice, and he was working hard to train this brand new apprentice after becoming a brand new warrior. As the game progresses, at 22 moons old, Quietpelt has a slight injury, so they spend a lot of time in the medicine cat den. Bramblepelt visits them very often, and Heron Sky takes us out on walks because he knows that he's pretty stressed about his mate's condition. I imagine that what happened to Quietpelt is that she sprained her paw, and that's why she's spending so much time in the medicine cat den recovering. So for our very first drawing of the video, that is what I chose to try and portray. That Bramblepelt has just come back from a hunting patrol with his apprentice Duck Paw, and Heron Sky's there watching over the two of them. That's pretty much all there is to this drawing. It didn't take that very long. And honestly, it's been such a long time since I drew these characters, so it's nice to kind of have a little bit of a warm-up and get a feel for them again. I ended up skipping a few moons, and at 23 moons, our mother Splash Puddle teases us about how we were when we were a kitten, but not long after that, Splash Puddle dies. So I guess this is a warning for the next drawings, because they feature quite heavily blood and gore. That's just how it is when characters die. So for my first drawing, I imagine that Splash Puddle was in a border patrol or a fight with the other clans, and so she's fighting off her attacker and they heavily injure her. So in the next drawing, it's basically Bramblekit and Heron Sky's reaction to their mother's passing, which is very sad. I really didn't expect her to die that soon. And on top of that, it said that another clanmate had died during this skirmish, which is why I imagine it to be like a border patrol or something. And that's how she died. So Bramblekit's very upset about both their deaths, but Brindlesong and I imagine Heron Sky's there. But of course, it isn't long that Bramblekit gets another apprentice at 28 moons old, which is Wheatpaw. So I decided to draw Wheatpaw. At first I was a little bit confused because it's been a while and I thought it was Whitepaw, but it wasn't that very hard to change the design. But honestly, I ended up liking this yellow design a lot more anyway, so I'm not that heartbroken that I had to change it. And that same moon, Quiet Pelt, Bramblestar knows why we're taking a nap. Again, when I'm playing this game, I try not to favorite any skills over the other when I'm training apprentices. That's just how I chose to play it this time around. During Wheatpaw's training, their grandparent died. That was an elder, so we're not really that good with social skills, so we give them a few days off, and they're back to their usual self again, so that wasn't too bad. Again, another reason I thought that Splash Puddle was in a border skirmish or something of the like is because at 30 moons, war breaks out between our clan, Mole Clan, and Vine Clan, so it just makes sense in the timeline for me. We fight in this war, and Bramblekit's very exhausted fighting this war. So our next drawing, I draw Bramblestar giving a speech, but of course this speech doesn't go that well, and I'm sure it's more than just Bramblekit being exhausted by this war, but I decided to focus on him, so there's a duality there. We try to cheer up Quiet Pelt, and because we're not good at social skills, I tried to ask her to go on a walk, but of course I guess Quiet Pelt wasn't in the mood for a walk. Now again, there's gonna be so Bramblekit and Brindlesong, their friend, were very good at fighting against the rogues, but of course she lost her last life. There's nothing they could really do for her. One Star is now the new leader, and they decided to put us as the deputy, and then I kept on reading, and One Star loses their last life. So my best guess is that on the way to receive their lives, they ended up passing away, and so they could not become a full leader. And so in the picture I drew, we have Bramblestar, who has died, and then we have one star, the soon-to-be one star that dies. And then we have one star who is next in line, but of course dies, which then leaves Bramblepelt as now Bramblestar to be next in line. But thankfully, Bramblepelt is able to make it and receive his 9 lives to become leader of Mole Clan very suddenly. And at this point, Bramblepelt is 34 moons old. At this time period, Bramblepelt would only be 3 years old. He's relatively a young leader of the clan. And I imagine that Bramblepelt struggles with that for a little while. And that's why he chooses to appoint a well-liked warrior called Aldertail. I feel like he wouldn't pick his brother because it would be a little bit biased, and the other options were like his kits, but Quiet Pelt has chose not to have any kits yet, and they never do, which is fine. And I feel like choosing your best friend wouldn't be a good option when he's so young, and that goes the same for his love Quiet Pelt. So that's why I chose what I chose. Anyway, that's a lot that's happened this episode. Last time on A Warrior's Life, we became leader very suddenly. So my first drawing is of Bramblestar having his 9 life ceremony, and he's getting a life from his mother, Splash Puddle. I imagine that she's giving him a life for a mother's love specifically, because at this point he doesn't have kids or anything like that, and he's a male cat, so he can't be a mother, and he doesn't have siblings with kits either that I know of. I've been in general drawing a lot of Star Clan cats lately, and one of my favorite things to do is draw them in like this light blue background, so that's why I chose it in particular. But other than that, this is a very simple drawing. Just a recap of what happened last time is that now he's leader, and that last episode Splash Puddle died. I'm also going to go ahead and apologize about my voice. I am a little bit sick, and I just want to get this stuff done and out there. I didn't have to, but I wanted to, kind of thing. Following being made leader, he had to make Aldertail into his new deputy, because I feel like a well-experienced warrior would be good to be made deputy instead of a sibling. We pass on into the next moon, and we're already having to give a motivational speech because there's a war going on between Mole Clan and Vine Clan. So for my next drawing, I drew a picture of the deputy Aldertail with our Bramblestar, just giving a general motivational speech on that island that I've drawn the previous leader standing on before. I feel like I also need to have a reminder that I played this back in February of this year, so there's been updates since then, but generally gameplay wise, a lot of similar things keep happening over and over again, and there's just not that much variation, so a lot of the time I just do general activities like hunting and giving the food to Quiet Pelt, or just going to the gatherings and skipping a moon. That's basically all I really ended up doing. But the next moon, Quiet Pelt defends us from some rogues, and I imagine this is where Bramblestar lost one of his lives, and that's why she's having to defend him, because he's losing a life and having to regenerate over again. But it seems as leader that Bramblestar generally is a very good one. He doesn't take sides or anything. But around 40 to 41 moons, we finally make peace with Vine Clan, and that's why I say that he's generally a good leader if he's able to remain peaceful with the other clans. So I decided to do another drawing of maybe him at a gathering with the leader of Vine Clan, and just generally they're getting along and joking around together at that gathering. I ended up using another generator for her design, but I will include that generator in a future one shot per chance video. So that'll be coming out soon, or later, I don't know when, but consider this a glimpse into that. The next few moons, our main Quiet Pelt, she had another family member die, and we try to comfort them. Another thing that happened was that Heron Sky was being bullied, and we decided to stand up for him, which is a change from when, like, in episode 1, I think, of when Heron Sky used to bully other cats. So now we're standing up for him from bullies, but, like, there are adults here in this. They're considered adults, so I don't know why he's being bullied. It's so strange. But I drew a picture of Bramblestar defending Heron Sky, and Heron Sky kind of looking embarrassed, because I think that would probably be embarrassing to have your clan leader step up and be like, hey, quit bullying my brother. And again at 45 moons, we are defended from rogues by Quiet Pelt, which makes me wonder again if he lost another life, which is concerning. But at 46 moons, Quiet Pelt is spending a lot of time in the nursery. I mean, not the nursery, the medicine cat den. And I also wonder if that's related to the rogue fight, because the next moon, Quiet Pelt ends up dying from this injury. At the 47th moon, and the injury was like the 46th. So I'm wondering if she got injured with that fight with the rogues, and the injury got infected, and that's how she ended up dying. So my first picture I drew as of them having a moment together in the medicine cat den, because it's some of their last moments together. And then the next picture is, of course, of Quiet Pelt's death. I mean, he's already lost his mother, Splash Puddle, and now he's losing his mate. I imagine that takes a lot out of you. I'm very sorry, but that's everything I've ended up drawing, because I figured that was a good cutoff point for this episode, because we just have one more episode left of Bramblestar's life. I'm not sure if I want to do more episodes of A Warrior's Life after this or not. I'll have to decide it, but we might be going into a new cat very soon, which is sad because I've grown to really like Bramblestar. That's everything for this episode. Hey, it's Warrior Grapevine, and welcome back to another episode of A Warrior's Life. This will be the final episode of Bramblestar's life. Last time we left off on, his mate, Quiet Pelt, had suddenly passed away after an injury from the medicine cat den. And our first speed paint, looking into what life is like for him, is just some time passing. Because the thing with loss is that it never quite goes away, but sometimes it gets a little bit easier, and life's just going on anyway. I know for the last section of his life, he still thinks about Quiet Pelt every once in a while. Some days the loss is easier to deal with, other days it's like you've just lost that person all over again. That's just how loss and grief works. So I basically drew him sitting in front of his leader's den, and of course first the loss just as there as it was yesterday, and it gets easier. And I'm explaining this because as that loss gets easier, sometimes you meet new people, and that includes a new cat named Gleaming Ivy. I think at first maybe he thinks she's pretty, and they get along pretty well, so they're constantly hanging out together for a little while. And of course, other things are going along on the background, like Bramblestar playing pranks on us, and we look after kits for the queens every once in a while. Warriors make huge catches, and as they get closer together, they decide it won't be easy, but for a little while, they can be mates. And I'm sure for Gleaming Ivy, she knows what's happened to him in the past. She knows all about Quiet Pelt. Sometimes he shares stories about Quiet Pelt with her. And I think at least somewhere she knows that if Quiet Pelt was still alive, they probably wouldn't be mates together. But they could have been still good friends. And I think if Quiet Pelt was still alive, she'd want to be maybe a surrogate for them. Because it isn't long after that they have their first two kits. Doe-Kit and Fawn-Kit. Sorry, my cats are going nuts right now. They're being very playful and playing together. So if that's what you hear in the background, that's what's going on. And I did end up coming up with designs for the three of these cats using the same generator, and I'll probably leave that in the description down below for you to use. But also I wanted to make sure that Doe-Kit and Fawn-Kit both had like traits from both parents a little bit. I don't know how successful I was with drawing a recent queen, but hopefully it looks okay. So for a long while they're raising Doe-Kit and Fawn-Kit as they grow up, and we're still doing our regular duties of going to like gatherings and things like that, hunting for our family, giving the prey to them and to the rest of the clan. And of course at gatherings, Bramblestar can't help but mention the nursery and his kits, because he's very proud of them. But unfortunately, a moon later, we find out that Primrose Spots has died, which is our father. Time's still passing in the background, and I think that Primrose Spots had Bramble and hair on when he was a younger warrior, but now Bramble is becoming a senior warrior. He's getting quite old, and I think he passed from natural causes. Which is why I took the time to draw him just laying in a field of messy flowers. I don't think he died doing anything. He must have been an elder in the Elder's Den for a while. But again, you know, with loss, it doesn't get any easier, so he's probably thinking about his father for a little while. And I think that's why it scares him so much 2 moons later, when for a little while Gleaming Ivy has to stay in the medicine den. And I think he probably thinks a lot about how Quiet Pelt died, so he spends a lot of time with her in the nursery. The medicine den. And for this drawing in particular, I wanted to take some time to draw him older. Because like I said, he's a senior warrior now. So he's got a little bit of grays going on. He's got a bushy old mustache going on. And Gleaming Ivy's probably a little bit embarrassed having her mate come see her, but happy. And she's happy he's probably getting some rest finally. But we're still taking care of our kits. And they finally become apprentices 2 moons later. So I decided to draw these two running along on their way to different patrols and things. And he doesn't really have to watch over them like a hawk anymore. But I imagine he still takes the time to look after them, even though they're apprentices with their own mentors now. In particular, Fawnpaw is very good at hunting. She comes back with a giant juicy bowl. And Doughpaw is good at fighting because they won against their mentor. And they both don't like cleaning the Elder's Den, and he can't help smiling. So he remembers what that was like. And he decides to take an apprentice of his own, Dustpaw. They are a non-binary cat. So, fourth cat, same generator design-wise. Maybe they're a little bit related to Gleaming Ivy, just because of the way they look. And I enjoy the little flowers I got to draw with them. And, I don't think it's easier for him to train this apprentice, because he's getting along in years. He's been leader for a long time. I imagine he's struggling quite a bit to keep up with them, and he's struggling a little bit to get to gatherings and things like that are far away. But if there's any border skirmishes and things, he's fighting for his life. And for his clanmates, just the same as he used to. Because now he has 2 young kids to think about. Which is why, unfortunately, at 66 moons old, and our children are just 12 moons old, not even warriors yet, that at a small border skirmish, not that far from that, we got arthritis from running from a dog. And, unfortunately, Bramblestar died and went to StarClan. So, for our last drawing of Bramblestar, it's him looking on at his body while he's ascending on to StarClan. I definitely think he'll wait up for Gleaming Ivy, and that in StarClan with Quiet Pelt, they can be good friends and live in the afterlife together, basically. And, of course, Primrose Spots will be there, and our mother Splash Petal. And eventually our kits will be there, too. But in particular, I think Doughkit or Fawnkit with that one generator I used. One of them has a future of being deputy. So the legacy continues, even without Bramblestar being there anymore. Now, next time we come back to a warrior's life, I'm thinking of using this other creator's generator just to try it. And next time we won't be going for a leader's role, but we'll get into that with the next generator. And I'm no longer sick, thankfully, and life update wise, I'm getting a day job soon, because I finally got my driver's license. So we'll just have to see how things change scheduling wise, honestly. So it could be a while before I get hired. And yes, I'm 26, so it'll be a new fun life experience. We'll see how things turn out. I'll let y'all know. Most drastic I could see things changing is that we just have Friday videos from now on, honestly. But for all of November, I've scheduled Tuesday and Friday videos, so we'll be fine for November at least. Anyway, thank you so much for taking the time to listen to me ramble. And thank you so much if you watched every episode of this series. And I'll see you next time. Goodbye.